on to your wallet, students. Tuition is on the rise again. Good evening, I'm Orion Goodman.
And I'm Megan Fairchild, filling in this week for Moncapur Conte. Thanks for tuning in to WakeTV for tonight's episode. Film may not be the first thing that comes to mind when someone mentions Wake Forest, but that doesn't mean it still doesn't have a presence here on campus. Last week, the university hosted the annual Ronaldo Film Festival, a student-run festival that started in 2008 that brings films and people in from the film industry to campus over the course of a week. The week was filled with events that were perfect for anyone that has an interest in film, such as film screenings and discussion panels and speakers from different branches of the industry. Guest speakers included Lincoln art director Kurt Beach, screenwriter Josh Olson, and this year's keynote speaker, actor and filmmaker Ed Burns. The festival itself saw 60 entries this year, many of which came from places outside of the United States, such as Spain, Afghanistan, and Belgium. 12 finalists were picked and divided into 4 groups: narrative, documentary, animation, and experimental, and a winner was chosen from each. So while Wake Forest might not be known predominantly as a film school, by hosting events like this, it provides plenty of opportunity for students to learn about working behind and in front of the camera.
As you're well aware, conservation is a big issue in some circles, and as Earth Day rolls around, it's about to get even bigger. One of the most talked about matters of conservation is that of soil productivity. According to studies, $125 billion worth of topsoil is lost across the United States each year. And a huge contributing factor to the loss of productive topsoil is overuse. The way agriculture is done today, most firms and large companies use genetically modified or enhanced plants that can produce a large yield under very specific conditions, namely heavy chemical treatment. While this may be working now, experts fear that won't be the case for long. In their new book, The Upcycle, Beyond Sustainability, Designing for Abundance, authors William McDonough and William Brongar argue for making a number of innovative changes in regards to topsoil management, most of which involve prolonging nutrient availability and maintaining the natural carbon cycle. Comparing it to a battery, they say most modern practices drain the soil of its nutrients and don't allow it to recharge, reducing its value until it is effectively useless. With that in mind, we should all try to do a little something conscientious this approaching Earth Day. You know, show some appreciation and all that jazz.
Wake and Shake is one of Wake Forest's biggest annual events, involving students dancing for 12 hours to raise money for the Brian Piccolo Cancer Fund Drive. But this year's event was taken to another level. Counters have estimated that this year's event brought in over $125,000 for cancer research, making it the most successful one since the event began in 1980. Even more impressive is the funds are still coming in. Part of this could be the wider promotion this year, including texting donations, a Google Plus Hangout, and live streaming of the event on its official website. About the event, one of the chairs, Lucas Swenson, said that Wake and Shake is a product of the entire Wake Forest community coming together. We dance for a loved one who has fought or is currently fighting cancer and think of them throughout the entire day. The Brian Piccolo Cancer Research Fund was established in memory of former football player Brian Piccolo, who died of cancer at the age of 26. But through events like Wake and Shake, it is obvious that his memory and spirit will live on in our hearts and minds. Now let's turn it over to Melanie Worley and Isabel Hill to hear about what's going on at Health at Wake Forest. Ladies?
With summer approaching, a delicious, refreshing drink like a smoothie always hits the spot. So today, we wanted to provide you with some tips on how to make your smoothie healthy. You should be cautious when buying commercially prepared smoothies, since they vary in calories, ingredients, and nutritional value. Not to mention, they are often filled with added sugar. So instead, we recommend making healthy smoothies at home. Smoothies made with fresh fruit or vegetables and low-fat yogurt or 100% juice supply much more nutritional value than those made with ice cream, sherbet, and chocolate syrup. So Melanie, do you have any recipes that you recommend for our viewers at home?
Indeed I do. The infamous Dr. Oz's Berry Strong Spinach Smoothie calls for 1 cup of frozen spinach, 1.5 cups of frozen blueberries, a half cup of frozen raspberries, and 1 cup of orange juice. All you have to do is combine the ingredients in a blender with ice and blend until smooth. It's simple and tastes amazing. In addition, the hidden spinach gives you added fiber and leafy green nutrients. Or I recommend trying my mom's purple protein smoothie. Start with a scoop of protein powder, Pure Protein's vanilla whey powder to be exact. Dump that in the blender and add 6 ounces of unsweetened almond milk, a splash of honey, a tablespoon of low-fat yogurt, and about 3/4 a cup of frozen berry blend. Add in half a banana too if you'd like, and blend until smooth. As you can see, smoothies are packed with antioxidants and vitamins. They keep you hydrated and boost your metabolism, and they can be an excellent source of calcium. So next time you're in the sun, satisfy your thirst with a delicious smoothie, rather than a Coke or sweet tea. Feel free to email either of us for the recipes or send us yours. Back to you, Megan and Orion.
Thanks, guys. You know, smoothies are actually my favorite thing in the world.
Are they really?
Yes, in fact,
in the entire world?
In the entire world. My ideal date would be, you know, on the beach, just with tons of smoothies, because, I mean, they're great if it's a sunny day.
Would you like a girl too, or just
No,
the smoothies?
just the smoothies.
Okay.
Everyone's aware of the war on drugs, but how prevalent is it? According to a recent poll by the Pew Research Center, over half of Americans support legalizing marijuana, leading some to believe the war on drugs might be coming to an end. Despite this, action is still taken to purge drug presence, resulting in what many argue are vastly inflated prisons. Thanks to the drug war, America's prison population now sits at a comfortable 2.2 million, 25% higher than any other country. Nowadays, a lot of conservatives say the toll this crusade is taking on budgets, families, and ideals isn't worth the time and trouble of continuing it. In fact, only about 19% of polled Americans thought the war on drugs had any worthwhile effects that warranted its continuation. Additionally, the past 10 years have brought about a significant amount of demographic change, resulting in a younger generation that seems to be much more supportive of having choices and making decisions. While these societal changes have already affected legislation in a few states, they have yet to be given much weight in higher legislative arenas. Whether or not the war on drugs is actually losing steam is yet to be seen, and frankly, only time will tell.
On March 21st, former students Carlos Perez and Peter Bondi were honored for becoming the first Latino graduates of Wake Forest University. This was part of the Faces of Courage series, which is a celebration of how Wake Forest has worked to increase integration and diversity among its campus population over the past 50 years. Both Perez and Bondi had the opportunity to speak at the event about their experiences at Wake. About his experiences with the faculty, Perez said, "I could not have asked for better people as teachers. They were knowledgeable, caring, and demanding yet fair." The event carried on with dances performed by the university's Salsa Club and Ballet Folklorico, a Mexican dance group. We here at Wake Forest greatly appreciate everything Mr. Perez and Mr. Bondi have done to help pave the way for our university to become the inclusive and diverse place it is today.
Odds are you've noticed the keyboard on Hearn Plaza by now, but if you haven't, well, it's there. The keyboard, tables, board games, and exercise equipment that have popped up over the course of the year are part of a program designed to break students out of their own little bubbles. If you've been anywhere on campus, you can clearly tell most students are primarily concerned with their academics and what the future has in store, especially when it comes to career paths and resume building. Some members of WFU administration think this constant worrying is a new problem, and the new toys will encourage students to relax. A key part of this development involves slowly adding new elements, making the transformation more organic. Says Provost Rogan Kirsch, "We really are aiming to not transform their lives with a capital T, but in a very unobtrusive way introduce elements that aren't announced, aren't planned, aren't programmed, and aren't another thing they have to do." The ultimate goal of the program is to increase student well-being and reduce stress and anxiety by giving students a way to take a step back and mellow out. The only caveat is these distractions could very well get in the way of efficient studying. But then what's work with a little play? It's boring. Horribly boring. Wondering what Greek life here at Wake is going on? Kristen Rogers is here with your Greek This Week report to keep you up to date. Kristen?
Thanks, guys. I'm Kristen Rogers, and here's what's up on Greek this week. Kappa, Beta, Gamma, and Pike co-hosted Beta Bowling and Strikes with Pikes on April 3rd from 9 to midnight. Although there was not a lot of publicity for the event, anything fun that supports a charity is always popular among Wake Greek life. The Lambda Chi and DZ volleyball tournament that was scheduled for Thursday, April 4th was rescheduled due to snow to Sunday, April 7th. Alpha Delta Pi won the event and most Greek organizations participated. Also on April 7th, Kappa Kappa Gamma hosted Kappa Caddies. Kappa Caddies raised money for the event by caddying for a local golf course. Last week, Alpha Delta Pi sold the raffle tickets for their annual Raffle for Ronald event that raises money for their philanthropy, the Ronald McDonald House. Tickets were sold all week to students and faculty. And if you like green jello and tug of war, you should have signed up for Delta Zeta's Turtle Tug, which was held on April 10th. Looking ahead, Kappa Alpha Theta will be hosting their very first philanthropy event called Casa Royale, which will be a casino night in the barn on April 24th. And Kappa Alpha and 80 Pi will co-host their second annual Slip and Slide on Davis Field on Thursday, April 26th. That's it for Greek This Week.
Each week, Megan Lavelle and Will Shaker keep us up to date with what's going on with sports, both at Wake Forest and at the national level. What's going on this week?
Fan of the NFL Draft? Well, then mark your calendar starting Thursday, April 25th, where the first round picks will go in prime time. This year, the Deacs will be represented by our very own Tommy Bohannon, who boasts an impressive 54 draft grade, setting him up to be a 4th through 7th round pick for next season.
Junior Adam Lee earned his greatest win as a Deacon, but the rest of the tennis team was unable to do so against #1 ranked UVA. Lee was actually the only Wake player to defeat his opponent, who who has been ranked within the top 30 junior players in the world at one point. Lee also leads the Deacons with 30 singles wins this season, and as for the rest of the team, all Coach Tony Bresky could say was that they are #1 for a reason.
Football coaching roster just keeps getting bigger. Former Deke Warren Balin has been hired to coach the outside linebackers. Balin has 20 years of coaching experience, including a combined 9 years with the SEC at Vanderbilt in Georgia and 2 years in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers.
The 2013 Deacon Club Spring Tour has arrived. The tour, starting April 15th and ending June 4th, features head coaches Jeff Bizdelic and Jim Grobe for a Q&A panel. The duo will be hitting major cities all along the East Coast, so have at the coaches in the city nearest you by getting a ticket at deaconclub.com.
The NCAA basketball tournament wrapped up last Monday night with an exciting matchup between Louisville and Michigan. Cardinals took the 82-76 win over the Wolverines, winning the coveted title of national champions. Luke Hancock had 22 points Monday night, earning him the title of MVP. Louisville head coach Rick Pitino became the first coach to win championships at 2 different schools. He was also announced as a member of the Hall of Fame that same day.
The Wake Forest men's baseball team dominated High Point last Wednesday night with a 15-6 victory. This win, along with their win the previous night, marked Wake's first sweep of the High Point team since 2006. This game was senior Pat Blair's 200th game with the Deacs. He has missed only 4 games in his career, and next up for the Deacs is a 3-game series at Clemson this week.
Coach Jeff Bizdelic announced on Tuesday that Randolph Childress would be the new assistant coach of the Wake Forest basketball program. Childress is a Hall of Famer and former Demon Deacon. He served as the director of player development last season. Childress played 16 seasons in the pros and was the 19th overall draft pick in 1995.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Back to you, Orion and Megan.
Thanks, guys, and that's all for Wake TV News this week. I'm Orion Goodman.
And I'm Megan Fairchild. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week.